Hope y'all are having a great weekend. Welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name is Kaylee.
And my name is Desi.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. Before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report it to your local police and sheriff department.
Over the past couple years, law enforcement has seen an increase finding young sex trafficking and kidnapping victims. The sad reality is the majority of them are really young girls. Technology has been a blessing and a curse for these victims. Nowadays, it is a lot easier for police officers to locate these victims. However, many times it is far too late. Along with the advancement of technology, it makes it much easier for nasty pedophiles to find these young girls and even boys.
The case we will be highlighting happened a little over 21 years ago when technology had started to boom. Her name is Bianca Lebron. Bianca Elaine Lebron was born June 26, 1991. She would be 31 years old today. She was from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Her parents separated when she was very young.
Bianca was a fifth grader at Elias School. Bianca lived with her mother Carlita Torres, her little sister, and stepfather Angelo. Her cousins and her walked to school every morning since they lived fairly close by. She had excellent grades and loved going to school. Her main hobbies were dancing and singing to all genres of music. Bianca had a pet hamster named Nina.
After school, her friends, cousins, and her would ride their bikes around the neighborhood and play tag. She was a social butterfly. Wednesday, November 7, 2001, her mother woke up and got ready for work. Bianca was waiting for her friends and cousins to go to her house to walk to school together.
Bianca was wearing khaki pants, a camo shirt with a blue jean jacket. Her mother kissed her daughter goodbye as she was heading out to work. A few minutes later, all the girls got together and started heading to school. They arrived at 8:30 a.m. The little girls were waiting outside for the school doors to unlock. As they were waiting, a brown and beige van pulled up.
When this van arrived, Bianca went to hear teachers and friends tell them, When this van arrived, Bianca went to her teachers and friends to tell them she would not be at school today. She claimed she was going to go on a shopping trip with her uncle. She offered her friends to come along, but they declined. Bianca hops in the van and the van drives away.
Her teacher did not report any of this. He did not check his ID and make sure that this random guy was really her uncle. He also never notified her parents. 4:30 p.m., Bianca's mother notices that her daughter is gone. She should be home from school by then. 8:30 p.m. rolls around and there's no sign of Bianca. Carmelita had a feeling that something was wrong.
Carmelita calls her friends and cousins to see if they know anything. Unfortunately, none of them know where she's at. Her mother dials the police to notify them of her daughter's disappearance. Her mother found out from the school that her daughter left school to go shopping with her uncle. Carmelita knew this was a red flag.
Obviously, Carmelita was very unhappy with the teacher, especially considering the fact that he did not verify with the family and did not check the guy's ID. Bianca does not have an uncle because Carmelita does not have any brothers. Also, she states none of their family's members drive a van like the one described. Some of Bianca's classmates did give a description of this guy.
This man is described as a Hispanic, and his age was between 20 to 30 years old. He was 5'10" with short, curly black hair, sideburns, and a beard. This man was wearing a blue Gap sweatshirt, jeans, and Timberland boots. One of Carmelita's neighbors states that he saw that same man driving a van multiple times around the block that morning she was last seen.
Sometimes Hispanics do call friends, boyfriends, etc. uncles even if they aren't related at all. This is most likely the case with Bianca. This guy could have made Bianca comfortable enough to tell him that. However, this man could have also lied and maybe Bianca thought she had an uncle she did not know about. The Bridgeport Police Department did investigate all of the family thoroughly. Her whole family was cleared.
Police labeled her case as a non-family related abduction. At first, there wasn't much coverage. However, on Saturday following her disappearance, a news article was published that gained a lot of attention. Even her mother did appear on the Murray show.
A psychic was brought to the school to see if she could notice any negative energy. However, she said it was not the family and it was someone who was stalking her and was into little girls. For a long time, there was a severe lack of information in this case. Some of her classmates came forward and told officers that Bianca had a boyfriend. This was an old man. They go as far as to claim that they held hands and kissed.
When questioned about who this man was, the girl said his name was Jason Laura. Jason Laura was 27 years old. Police go to his house, however, he was gone. When the police told the family about Jason, the family did mention that they knew who he was. Bianca's grandmother said Jason was the son of her late brother's girlfriend.
Bianca's mother does say that they did go there often, but did not think he was grooming her. Police do know that one of Jason's friends does drive a brown van similar to the description provided by her classmates. One year, police finally contacted Jason. He had multiple charges, including forgery, because he faked his signature on a check.
Officers take this as a sign as a perfect opportunity to speak with him. He denied everything. His girlfriend at the time also said that the allegations were completely false. Jason gave police an alibi, and so they checked his alibi. He did have an alibi. Police no longer believed that he was involved.
In 2009, police received a tip that her body could be found at the west end of Seaside Park. Police searched the area and found nothing. 2011, police received another tip from New Mexico stating that they saw her in a chat, a picture of what looked like Bianca. It led nowhere. Deputy John Burke is in charge of her case.
Despite all these multiple leads and tips, police haven't got much anywhere. To this day, Bianca nor her body have been found. Burke has yet to find who might be involved in her disappearance. She would be 31 years to this day. We hope that one day this case will be solved like the many other girls that go missing every year.
Why did the teacher allow Bianca to leave school with her quote-unquote uncle? Why did the teacher not verify with her family and this quote-unquote uncle? Usually schools require verification for permission to pick up a child from school. Maybe the teacher just didn't think he was an untrustworthy guy, and the fact, Bianca, probably her behavior towards him showed him that she knew him and maybe felt comfortable enough to go around him. So that's probably why he didn't check, but also he probably is very much a big dummy. Should have checked anyways.
Yeah, he definitely should have checked, because even during this time, 2001, when I was a baby then, but anyways, my mom even says, when she took me to daycare and stuff, a lot of times you had to be buzzed in and everything. And, my brother would be in elementary at this time, and the same thing with that. So it is a little bit weird that the teacher did not verify, didn't ask for an ID, or even, speak with him. That the teacher just kind of let Bianca go with this quote-unquote uncle and go shopping with him.
Yeah, for sure weird. I wouldn't want my teachers doing that with my child.
Yeah, if I was a parent, I would definitely be talking to somebody, because she was only 10 years old. Little girls are not going to know who to trust. Which leads into the next question. Why did Bianca get in the van with this man and call him her uncle? Her mother mentions she does not have an uncle. So it is definitely a little bit weird that she decided to go in this van in broad daylight with this dude. It definitely is really suspicious. I think one of the reasons why she went with him is that potentially this guy could have been grooming her for a while, and this could have been what her friends, classmates were calling her quote-unquote boyfriend. This could have been the guy that had been grooming her and really gained her trust and everything, and she thought she had to go with him because she was scared what he might do to her. We don't even know exactly the extent of everything that this man has done to her. It could be many, many horrible things. So it definitely is weird. Also, this guy could have lied to Bianca and said, Bianca maybe said, oh, I don't have an uncle, my mom doesn't have any brothers or whatever, but this guy could have said, no, you really do have an uncle, I'm Carmelita's brother, you just haven't met me yet or anything. And because she's still like only 10 years old and adults do hide stuff, maybe she thought that maybe her mom never mentioned her brother, which would be her uncle. And maybe she was like, okay, this really is my uncle, and I'm excited to meet him and everything.
He could have also said that he was her father's brother as well, which would make him her quote-unquote uncle. Or it could have been a family friend that they considered an uncle, or someone very close that she was comfortable with.
Right, yeah, that's definitely true, because at this time she was mostly living with her mom and her stepfather, so she hadn't really seen her father, so she might not have known all of his family.
Exactly. I don't know all my father's family.
I know a lot of my family, but I do not know a lot of my family at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's mostly everyone, unfortunately, nowadays.
Right.
Bianca's friends claimed that she had a secret boyfriend. That boyfriend was supposedly Jason Laura, who her family knew. Are the allegations true that Jason was grooming her? Without actual sufficient evidence, because kids don't always have the greatest memories, and some people don't always remember faces and can't always put them or place them. So his friends could have mistaken Jason Laura for the person who was her secret boyfriend, but also at the same time they could also be right without actual evidence, and of course with Jason denying that it was him and all that stuff, we don't have actual proof that he allegated.
Right, that is true. Well, in the description that they gave him, it's such a broad description. I know that it does mention like his clothing and stuff, but there are many guys out there with sideburns and short, dark, curly hair, so between ages 20 to 30. So like you said, they definitely could have mistaken him, this boyfriend, for Jason Laura when it really wasn't Jason Laura. It just was a guy that looked like him.
And the fact that they said she had a boyfriend who was way older than her, that's a little creepy. That's grooming to a T.
Yeah, that definitely is nasty.
That's nasty.
Nasty pedophile.
You nasty.
Jason was later on arrested for multiple charges, including forgery. Police interviewed him. He claimed he had an alibi. The officers went to check with the alibi to see if it was true. He did truly have an alibi. Could he have still been involved in her disappearance? Maybe the family was covering her up. Again, there's like an extreme lack of evidence, so we don't have enough concrete evidence. So even though he did have a quote-unquote an alibi, he could have really done something with her and put her body somewhere else. So he could have definitely been involved. It's definitely a little bit suspicious that the little girls do recognize him and did talk about him quote-unquote grooming her and all that kind of stuff. And the family could be covering up for him. Family members will cover up for each other all the time, even if it isn't right. The family could have been definitely covering up because maybe they just didn't want him to get any more charges or them to look bad on their end because they let this go on. There's stuff that people don't know that does happen behind closed doors, unfortunately, and a lot of sex trafficking victims and kidnapping victims tend to know their killer.
Jason also could have been not directly involved, but he could have been like a witness. Or
Yeah.
Could have been aiding whoever actually took her.
That is true. Like he could have been driving the van and getting her over to this pedophile.
Which leads into our next question. If Jason was not involved, could his friend have been possibly involved? His friend drove a van like that one that is described by the neighbors and classmates. It is very true. Like we just said, Jason could have been an accomplice to this, so it wouldn't surprise me if his friend who drove the van that is exactly described by neighbors and classmates. Could have very easily been the one who took her and tried to pass off as somebody who was just friendly and her quote-unquote uncle and had very bad intentions to take her, obviously.
Right, yeah, I totally agree. The next question is, so Bianca's mother did claim Bianca as dead in order to declare a wrongful death lawsuit against the school, even though there was no body found or any other evidence found proving that Bianca was still dead. Why did her mother claim this? So I think everybody handles grief in like a different kind of way, even though like her daughter could still, probably not, but could still be alive. Obviously people are going to handle it a different way. And also, I think the main reason why she did this was because the school had the teacher that deemed check this random guy and make sure that this was truly Bianca's uncle, and this random person was able to snatch up her kid. So obviously she was furious about that, and maybe she felt like that was the only way to really get justice for that and everything. And I don't really blame her, because the school definitely was in the wrong as well, because they should have never let Bianca go with this other guy without verifying with him, like checking his IDs, making sure that he's really the uncle, checking with the parents as well, because usually in schools they will have a list of for your kid who is allowed to pick them up. They'll have their phone numbers and everything, and like obviously they didn't check that list or anything. They didn't get his ID or anything, which is definitely like very wrong on their part for sure.
Why have we not located her body yet? Could she still be? A reason why we haven't located her body yet is because either her killer hid it very well, or the police just don't know where to look, unfortunately. Which is understandable, because we have no true evidence that she is dead or that her body has been buried. But we also have no evidence that she could still be alive at the same time, because we don't know what happened to her after she got in that van. Whether she was taken away on a road trip very far away to another state, or if she was killed and thrown into a river or buried somewhere deep in the woods.
Yeah, there's so many different possibilities. Which leads us into our next question. What do we truly believe happened? So obviously we can both agree that she definitely was kidnapped and taken from some horrible person. Whether that person would have been Jason's friend, and Jason had been aiding his friend by driving the car, picking her up and taking her to his friend and letting his friend do all these horrible things. Or whether the family is just covering up Jason and that he truly is the one that was involved in her disappearance, but unfortunately because the family is covering him up and everything, and because there's not a ton of concrete evidence, he's put her body somewhere very well hidden that the police cannot locate. He could still be involved. It could also be a totally random person that we have not even mentioned. It could be a neighbor. It could be any person in the city that was just stalking her for a little while, driving past her neighborhood, and they're like, oh, okay, I see this little girl out there and they're sick and they wanted her because she was their type. So they were like, well, I'm going to go by the school and see if there's some little girl that I can kidnap. And they came across Bianca, and because Bianca is very outgoing, she trusts a lot of adults and everything, this person could have somehow gained her trust and then snatched her up. Then she could be dead now. She might still be alive. It's pretty rare. We don't exactly know because, again, there is just a severe lack of concrete evidence.
She was obviously kidnapped. By who, we don't know. and I believe she's either dead or she could still be alive somewhere far away under a different name, identity. She could even still be with her captor, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. There are occasionally some instances where people are still with their captors for years and years. Like in the Amanda Berry case, she had been with her captor for such a long time and she was able to escape. Hopefully, if that's the case, Bianca hopefully will be able to escape. But unfortunately, that is pretty rare, so it's more than likely she's not here.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open. You never know when someone's creeping.